all good stuff. And every week you can catch it here. And but let me just tell you who we got a guest in the house.
Notes and everything.
Listen,
You know,
listen.
She ain't no stranger.
Listening to this young man.
She ain't no stranger. Look, and home is a friend.
Yes.
That's housing opportunities made equal. And I'm telling you, don't let information fly over your head. Capture it, because it's good for you or good for somebody you know. And if you're about building community, this is how we do it. We bring the information, we share the information, and we all rise. So with that said, we got Sierra in here, and she's going to introduce herself again and tell us a little bit more about her role and what she's here to talk to us about. And we're just going to enjoy it. And we're gonna take her to the mat. We got hard questions for her.
Oh Lord!
But she can handle it. You know, they don't send nobody to weak in here.
He opening the iPad over here. I'm not ready.
We got
ready.
Google me.
Yeah, big dog, going big dog on you. Look out.
Okay. So as Mr. Anderson said, I am Sierra from Housing Opportunities Made Equal, and I'm gonna follow the theme and say they not like us. It's totally different. We are a civil rights fair housing agency. We've been around since 1963.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I was born in 64.
I thought you were 21. I didn't even know.
Baby.
But long story short, and I can go more into it as the time progresses, but we educate tenants and landlords on their rights. We investigate cases of housing discrimination. We offer outreach workshops. We basically try to make our presence known in the community so that they know who to go to if they come into something. And also, if you need housing lists, feel free to give us a call or come to our office as well. We do that as well. One thing I don't think I mentioned last time we were here, we have a Making Moves program. And that Making Moves program.
Making Moves.
Yes. And essentially what that is, it is a program for families that have children under 18 and also have housing choice vouchers. They enter into this program. It takes a couple weeks because they have to attend workshops and things like that. But we help them relocate to apartments. We cover the moving expenses as well as the security deposits as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's other criteria that the applicants have to, I'm sorry.
Waiting list.
Yeah, not even really a wait list, but there's other things they have to do. But that is a program that we do have that not a lot of people know about, So yes, if you or know someone that has, again, children under 18 and have a housing choice voucher, call us and ask about the Making Moves program.
Making Moves program.
Yep.
Hey, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Write that down. Making Moves.
Making moves. We are making moves. Yes.
Yeah, y'all better make that move right
and
now.
Again, we assist with security deposits.
Hey, you got it.
I heard a little vocals over there. I heard it.
Boom. But this is good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to housing, there are a lot of concerns, and a lot of times people wait till the last moment and they want a miracle done.
Yeah.
And they don't understand there are procedures that have to be exhausted that move you from square to square. And so I know it's important for people to get in early and get in knowing, even before you have a situation, get in knowing where places like home are and what they do and how they can help in the different programs. And I also know that when it comes to calling you, again, people want instant service. How do y'all handle something like that?
Well, going back a little bit, yes, you are completely right. Call us as soon as you feel in your gut something is off, because the sooner the better we can help you with that. We do have those instances where people do call us at the last minute. So we do try our hardest to help them out, and also maybe saying, hey, maybe contact this agency because they might be better able to equipped, to help you out with the limited time that we have. So we still will take the call. We still will do something, but we urge people to come in sooner than later. As soon as you see a red flag or, again, something feels off, give us a call. I'd rather have you come in with something that you think is not that big, and actually it is. No question is too big, no question is too small. Call us and just see how we can help you, because I'd rather you have the information than to just let it pass by not knowing.
All right. We've been joined by Austin, and hey, Austin, how you, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here today. Sorry I was running a little late.
That's all right.
I know we got a very familiar guest in housing opportunities made equal has done a lot for me, even in my couple years kind of being in this space. And I know that when we talk about community change, it does take awareness and the efforts of a bunch of different organizations. And even from my experience working at Northland Table and being out, Home is an organization that we constantly see out in the community and visible. So I think that I'm a witness. You do be out tabling. I got a raise on the table. You have to consider.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that generation that you're part of, Austin, is one that really need to be aware, because as people begin to move into trying to rent an apartment or even a whole house or whatever around housing, it is important for them to make the relationship early. And I'm just thinking that, wow, a lot of people really gotta learn to say ouch. Some people, what I'm saying is that you know when you're hurting. Don't be letting no shame or embarrassment stop you from hollering for help. And people with good sense ask for help. And I think you got good sense. And you don't wait till you're about on your last breath. It really is important to check in early. And even if you're not sinking, you should call them and ask them a question about housing that you have, because they can give you an answer. Now, I'm going to shut up because I know Sierra has a lot more, and we're going to gobble it up.
Well, I'm just going to say something to that, because I was at an outreach last week, and I had someone come up to me, and they're like, hey, I'm aware of your presence. I don't know exactly what you do, but this sounds wrong to me. And they basically explained that their friend had been living in an apartment for over 3 years when they got hit with a notice to evict. And they're like, they had 30 days to evict. And they're like, is that right? And I'm like, no, it's not right. It's not. Because there's a 30, 60, 90 rule, So in that particular case, because the person had been there for over 3 years, they actually have 90 days to vacate the premises instead of the 30 that they were taught. That's why it's crucial, like you said, to ask these questions. Because if you don't know, you're just gonna be like, man, I got 30 days. I've been here for so long. And it's like, no, you actually have more time than that, but people don't know if they don't ask.
So they get scared. Most folks, the landlord places this bullying move on them and tell them to move out 30 days, and they rush through it and not knowing their rights. They can reach out to your organization, especially young folks. They go through it quickly, or the landlord changes the lock. You can't get back in the house, and it's not legal. You have to go through certain procedures. You help with that as well?
Yes. So we offer so many different ways for you to contact us. You can come to our office. We are at 1542 Main Street. We are across from Willoughby Insurance. You can give us a call, 716-854-1400.
Plug Willoughby.
Hey, listen, I just make it easy for people to locate us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. So we have different ways. You can walk in, like I said, we have many ways to contact us. We just don't want people to just feel like they don't have anybody there. We're here for you. We are here.
Wow. So my question is for the youth that's 18 years old that's trying to get in a house. Most of them now are working and not living with their parents. We have a lot of that happening in our community. What is the procedure for them to come aboard? Do they have to go through Belmont or Section 8, or are you a different program in itself?
We're a different program with that. And honestly, I didn't know how many youth we had looking for apartments until I did an outreach at the library. Not plugging them, just saying that's where I was at. And I had a young person come up to me, and I said, literally all I can do is just give you housing lists, because we're not an agency in which we work. I mean, we work with Belmont with the making moves, but not with that. So they can give us a call, and we can kind of look at other organizations that can assist with that. But at least we can give them housing lists and kind of get them from there.
Wow. I'm just, look, I think the work that Home is doing is so important now, with so many cuts, so many changes that are threatening people's lives, that this information that you're sharing cannot be undervalued. I mean, this is priceless. Some people, it may not have felt it yet, but I'm telling you, people, as you listen, it's important for you to digest this information and share it with others, because there are a lot of people in our community that are hurting, young and old, seniors. And, we do still have a terrible history of not wanting to share certain things. And that, we don't want people to know I'm in a hole. Well, you better let somebody know if you want to get out much more quicker. And again, your agency is the kind of, is in some ways that people feel stigmatized when they come to an agency like that. But we're talking about, this is a needed agency that can help in so many ways, from discrimination to the whole housing plan. And then I folks, as they come in with the kind of problems they have, I think it opens up another opportunity for y'all to figure out what additional programs you need to add.
Exactly. Not every case is the same. So you are 100% right, in which we will have people come in and it's like, oh, wait, we didn't know this avenue right here was being, that's overlooked. So we need to do something for that. So I think that's why we look forward to each case, because it's like, what can we learn from this? Besides helping somebody out, how can we learn from this? How can we make home grow a little bit more?
Good. So what else you got for us?
Because you're looking at my list here.
Homework.
She passing y'all.
Listen,
Mic closer to your
oh, my mic. Oh, I'm so. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay.
Yep.
Yes. So April is nationally known as Fair Housing Month. I say nationally because we celebrate and advocate for fair housing every single day. 365 days of the year, 366 if it's a leap year. But yes, it is known as Fair Housing Month because it celebrates the passing of the Fair Housing Act, like I said, that had in 1968. So we do have some events planned. That's why you see my list here. So on April 16th, we are at the Belmont Central office from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We are always there, really, every month on the second and fourth Wednesday. But you can walk in. You don't need an appointment. You can walk in and find out about your tenant rights and responsibilities, your landlord rights and responsibilities. If you have a gut feeling and you just want to get some assurance on it, saying, hey, is this right or is this wrong? We can help you from there. But we are there from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the second and fourth Wednesdays. This month, we're starting on the 16th, but we are there. Also on the 16th, we have a monthly landlord training on Zoom. That is also free. That is from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to cover fair housing laws, landlord rights, eviction process, lead safety, and so much more. They also will receive a certificate of compliance when that's done. That's for aspiring landlords, seasoned vets, anybody that wants to be a landlord or is a landlord is welcome. And they can register at our website. And like I said, that is also free. And then on the 30th, we have an event, I'm calling it, Join Home for a Chat. And that's at 7 p.m. at Burning Books Bookstore. That's at 640 Connecticut Street. We will be discussing the book Just Action, by Richard and Leah Rothstein. And that's going to explore how taking action can fight racial injustice and challenge systemic inequality. So feel free to join us. You don't have to speak if you're not comfortable, but we just want you to come out and, have a conversation with somebody and, share our resources and see what's available.
I hope people didn't miss some of the things you were saying in there, because I'll just say it to you, you need to hear it, folks. Look, housing opportunities made equal is not just for tenants, it's for landlords too. I mean, it is not slanted. It's coming straight down the middle, upholding the law for both sides. Because tenants, you don't get to do whatever you want, and landlords, you don't get to do whatever you want. And that's good, because we need to work together. Home is important, and other groups that are doing the same kind of work are equally important. So again, I just want to stress, don't take it lightly. Make sure you write down the phone number she's going to give you and how to get in touch with them on their website and a whole lot more. I know she's gonna tell us.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm
I'll tell you
shutting up.
again. Again, we are located, Housing Opportunities Made Equal, at 1542 Main Street, across from Willoughby Insurance, even though I'm not plugging them. You can give us a call at 716-854-1400. You can visit our website, www.homeny.org. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram. And have fun laughing at our hilarious TikTok videos as well. There's one of me falling on the floor. But yeah, so we are just basically want people to know who we are, you know, that we are here for you, and give us a call. We're literally only a call away.
I think one thing I'll even touch on, kind of being on that outreach side as well,
Okay.
is it very much does, like organizations like Home very much do protect everybody involved, kind of like what Jim said. When you look at how some landlords, why so many tenants are fearful, is because this idea that like, oh, well, there's just a Rolodex of tenants waiting, and if I leave, then the next tenant's going to come in, and what I won't deal with, they'll find somebody who will. But being aware of these issues, even when you look at other disadvantaged groups, right? It's not just even people who have been in Buffalo. It's people who are coming into Buffalo, maybe immigrants and refugees, not understanding what the laws and what they're allowed to have. Because depending on where you're coming from, simply a roof can be okay. But that shouldn't be just enough. We shouldn't settle for these things. And so I think it very much does protect all disadvantaged groups. And then on that landlord side, when you understand what you can't do, it helps you understand what you can do.
Exactly.
And so those classes are important because there may be certain rights and liberties that even landlords are given that they're not aware of. And so when I think we can kind of break down this wall from like us versus them, or it's tenants fighting landlords, rather than saying how to make this equitable and fair for everybody involved, I just think it makes everybody's situation better. So I try very much to help people understand going to organizations like this to ask for help or just ask questions are one of the best things you can do to not only inform yourself, but then inform the community that you're a part of. So again, I know I'm very familiar with Home. I'm not going to continue to, keep beating that dead horse, but it is something that's very useful and very necessary for the communities in which we frequent. And I do believe we have a call, so I'm not going to necessarily keep them out the conversation, but caller, you should be on the air. Good morning.
Yes, I'm sorry, I just missed the date of the Zoom call that you mentioned.
Yes, I'm sorry if I was talking fast. It is April 16th, and that's the landlord training on Zoom. And
okay, and you can register on the website.
Yep.
And all the information about it. Okay, because I'm going to share good information. I'm going to share with a couple of people as long as they can get everything they need from the website. That'll be huge for me, other than me passing it on. So.
Yeah. So honestly, it's www.homeny.org, and then it's /landlord training, and then you can just follow the prompts follow the prompts and register from there. Thank you for calling.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So what happened when you get a tenant that has been living in a house, paying the landlord rent to own a house?
Mm-hmm.
Do you deal with those type of issues as well?
Yeah, anything under tenant rights, anything under landlord rights. Home is here with a little superhero cape to save the day.
So that I mean, how does that go about? I mean, because a lot of folks be, paying extra money on a home, and then all of a sudden here comes this landlord saying, no, you didn't pay me anything. They lose it out. They get an eviction.
Like
all
rent
that.
to own,
Rent to own, and they're not going through the bank. They're just, giving this landlord just extra money. And then when it's time for them either to get close to it, here comes a snag. How do you work on something like that? Do you have lawyers and people like that in your office to help them along the way?
Okay, I actually like that question. I had a feeling you was going to hit me with something. But yes, in an instance like that, the first thing I would say is keep a paper trail. That's one thing, while we trust people and everything like that, keep a paper trail. Have proof of how much you paid, when you paid it, how you paid it, things like that, for your case. Feel free definitely to come to us. And while we don't have lawyers on retainer, we can at least, hey, let's contact this organization that has the legal assistance and can provide you with that. And we can also look into your case to see what other red flags might have possibly came up. So give us a call. We can help and also point you in the right direction as well. But keep a paper trail, please. Not a scrap of paper you just hid somewhere. Let's actually keep a list, because you want to have that proof,
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And folks, again, you need to have a receipt, the evidence of whatever you claim. You
Yes.
can't say, "Oh, I gave them so and so,
Mhm.
and they said this," and you got nothing in writing. Look, don't trust nobody like that. I mean, people mean well, but generally what happens when people make that error, then they come saying, "Oh, my bad." You don't want to be in a situation like that. You want to make sure you got the evidence you need to substantiate whatever you claim. And then you need to be a good tenant, just like a landlord need to be a good landlord. And that's what, when we have shows like this and when we have folks like Home in here, that's what it's all about. We ain't beating up nobody. We're trying to make the whole community healthy. And we're just pointing out the things that if we all do our part, it will be better. And listen, in case you didn't know it, we under some strange policies that are really coming down on us that you better get your ducks and your house in order.
Yeah.
This is not a rehearsal.
Yeah. With the political climate as it's been, it affected Home as well, like I was sharing with you before the show. So we recently faced a reduction of 13% in our federal contracts, which accounted for nearly half of our budget. So unfortunately, we had no choice but to lay off some members of our staff and also close our Delaware office. And it's a lot that's been going into that because it literally happened overnight, So it's been rough. It's been rough with the political climate.
Overnight,
like that.
when you say overnight, because you're the first person that came into this studio. I think we got to turn that down because we're echoing. But you're the first person that came in here and really been affected by what's taking place in our government right now in this room.
Okay.
And I'm kind of glad you're here to talk about that. How has it affect the morale of the folks that's working with you?
That's to be transparent. It's hard, it was hard, because a lot of things were in limbo and we didn't know how everything was going to go. I will say I shout out to the associate director, executive director, all the head honchos, because they were very transparent with the staff. Like, hey, we don't know, but feel free to ask us questions while we figure it out. But yeah, so like I said, our funding was affected, and unfortunately, if we have more significant cuts, we don't know how it's going to be. Oh, but we appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The work that Home is doing is a long legacy that they've been engaged in this work. And one of the things I wonder, how do y'all handle the nuances of games that get played on both sides by the tenant as well as the landlord, because everybody got, I didn't do nothing. It was them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you keep a collection of some of the games
Yes.
that, oh.
Can't tell all my secrets, but yes. But yes, it's one thing, like, we do. Long story short, we do. Landlords, unfortunately, there are some landlords that do try things. So we do have a record of that because unfortunately it doesn't change over the years. It's been a lot. Last year, 2024, we had over 550 reported cases of housing discrimination. And this year, we already know we're going to beat that number and more. So we have our ears and eyes to the ground.
I might suggest to Home that they put out a pamphlet that talks about games that landlords and tenants play. And just, just so people can look at some of the schemes that come up. Because we need to, I'm not against people making some extra income when they have property, but I'm against the stranglehold and against the greed for apartments that are not worth what they're asking for. And I know a lot of people just want to get in somewhere that they'll take it.
It's like whatever.
Yeah, and
whatever.
not knowing how damaging and costly it can be. Living in a cold house, a poor insulated house, somebody got to pay for the heat. You ain't got a bunch of extra money, so man, it's just, this is why home is so important.
Yes,
And
thank you.
the history, again,
Mhm.
is long, but the problems, you don't have to pull the ones from the past. They still right here today.
Mhm.
Both discrimination, overpricing, poor living
Mhm.
facilities,
Mhm.
and it's good to know y'all on the scene.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always fun hanging out with you guys.
Well, you got if you got some more to pour on us, we're all ears.
She got notes. You know she got
Oh,
notes.
my notes. You are just not going to let me live down my
You got
notes.
a lot in there. What else?
Listen,
What you
I'm
forget
wordy.
about? You said-
I'm wordy. I'm wordy.
Yeah.
But no, do you guys have any other questions I can answer or anything off the top of your head?
I mean, like I said, with the youth net right now looking for
Yeah.
housing
Mm-hmm.
and don't know their rights, it's major for them to be kicked out of a house after they done spent them. And I had one youth that paid her security deposit,
Okay.
never moved into the house, and the guy took her money.
Oh.
And now she don't have no clue about who to contact to get her money back. And so she went and got another apartment. I was like,
No.
yeah, but you lost your money.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a contact till now to reach out to
You
home.
didn't have a contact?
Yeah, and you want to tell what's your contact so they can reach out to you. You know, and
My
like that,
name is Sierra Fields. I work at home. I've been there for 3 years.
Oh, you at home? Or are you at home? What time is it?
I'm at Housing Opportunities Mid-Equal. But no, you can give us a call. Literally, my extension is 24. But again, our number is 716-854-1400.
So they can call you.
Yeah, they can give us a call. Yeah. One thing I will say that we kind of been saying more too is about arrest warrants. Arrest records. I'm gonna talk about that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So in New York State, landlords cannot treat you unfairly just because you were arrested but not found guilty.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, they're not even allowed to ask about your arrest or include it on a rental application. They also have limits on what they can ask about regarding certain past arrests or still convictions. And this is because the law protects you by restricting what they can ask, what you have to tell them, and how they can use that information when deciding to rent to you. So we're letting people know about that as well because we've been seeing some cases with that popping up.
And what about financial? You won't get the house because you're financial, or you didn't even have enough credit. Young folks don't have enough credit, and they said we didn't get the house because we didn't have a credit background.
Still give us a call. There's still so many, like, I don't want to say loopholes because I don't want to use that, but give us a call anyway. A lot of times we can just be like, hey, this is what you need to do.
Okay.
Well, we're coming to the end of this segment, and we're going to end it by going to a break. But just before we do, Sierra, I just want to thank you for being here and sharing that. And when we bring you back, I want to talk to you about the apartments. I don't know if you're doing any more expansion or where home itself has property that could be made available for renters.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Cool. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And folks, and thanks for calling in. You know, it's always good when someone calls in because your call represents 100 other calls that wanted to ask what you asked.
Good.
So thank you on that.
Yeah.
And we're going to that break. And again, thank you, Sierra.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You know we're switching out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is there another person?
Let me double check.
No, we go afternoon. We rocking it on.
Thank you guys for having
All right.
me.
Thank you, Sierra. Great job.
Thank you. Even with all my notes.
You didn't need Steven. Look, you rocking. You rocking. Look.
It's the church training in me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it worked out.
All right. Stay strong. We continue. Yeah.
Well, she's the first person that said, the job, people were laid off. And I was like, man, because I know a lot of people that's working at the VA getting laid off. It's reality starting to send in Buffalo a little bit. Before people was like, yeah, with the country, but Buffalo was like, people like, nah, ain't gonna happen. And it's happening.
I thought we was playing. We was trying to warn y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You moved there.
Yeah. So I'm like, for real?
So let people know, like, bro, it wasn't no joke.
You give me that mic.
Give you that one?
Give me that.
Especially when you got a guy saying, it's like medicine.
I'll get it.
You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy in
Okay,
itself.
so then pop that one. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we doing some
Yeah,
we crossed up now. Look,
This one,
came out
bro.
it's about time now. Yeah. So, crazy. But I had the young lady did get walked for $1,800, and she was like,
Man,
Can't
ain't
get her money
nobody
I said, let's push
getting
it
away
up.
with mine.
Like, so
They
it's
ain't getting-
eye shot. Like,
You
just
can
push
see
it.
You
this whole
do.
thing out here. Look at this. See all that there.
This one, look.
Yeah, take the whole page up. Page 5.
Hey, look at boy.
So we came back for Harriet Tubman. We took the trip with 25 youth. We took them down to Harriet Tubman's house over the weekend.
All right.
Yeah, so they really was impressed with that.
And it turned out great. Hey, we're back. You're listening to Conversations with Jim Anderson and Austin and Murray. And listen, you can join us in the conversation at 716-837-1112. And listen, don't wait till the last minute to get in. Get in while you can, where you can, because, you know, the moment is fleeting. You know, and then, so we hey, look. You need to join us in this part because we're talking about what's happening right here in the city, what you know. You know anything? Tell us, share it with us and share it with the rest of the community. And meanwhile, while you're trying to figure out what to say, I know we got something in here to say. So it's grab the mic time. You know,
Got the old
yeah,
script.
yeah, and let it rip, guys. There's a lot to talk about. Look at this. Somebody there calling. We hear you calling. Don't worry, we're gonna get you. Don't hang up. Let it ring for you. But
And I do want to touch on it for a second, even as we kind of get the caller in. And if other callers want to join in, it's 716-837-1112. But kind of what you were talking about, Murray, I know over at Northland, we're a nonprofit trade school. So when we talk about scholarships, as far as this recent administration, some of our money has kind of gotten under like scrutiny. We're always telling people, we used to be able to tell people, yeah, for sure. Now I tell people as of today. Right. Or when we look at some other organizations like we just had in here, there's a lot of restructuring going on because a lot of administration that we thought wouldn't affect people is now really starting to affect people. You look at the first, typically I guess that honeymoon phase, that first 90, 100 days. No, it's stuff we tried to tell people about what's going to happen. And now we have to ask ourselves as a community with these new kind of rules that are being set, how do we adjust how we're playing the game? Because it has changed. And those rules, we should have acted beforehand to prevent them being changed, but now they're changed, right? So this is what we're faced with now. And how does that kind of trickle down to our everyday lives? I think that's going to be a conversation that we can't get foreign to having because as we continue to go through this next administration, this seems like it's going to happen a lot. It's going to be a lot of change that's coming down. And so I think that's going to be interesting to see. And I would love to get you guys' perspectives as how you guys think that will affect the community and how we adjust to kind of accommodate that change. But that being said, I do know we had a caller, so I don't want necessarily
wait
the caller
for me to go back in there.
The caller go ahead and dropped out. So the caller said they wanted y'all to answer. If one of y'all want to go ahead and answer and reply to that.
Also, you're so right with the point. I mean, right on the top of it. But when I'm talking to the youth, and telling them that maybe your job won't be here tomorrow, and they like, nah, they don't. Reality has not set in to them really, and that's what's going on, Mr. Anderson, with our community. We have not had reality set into this thing, and now when you have our president saying it's like medicine, you know what I'm saying? Even with the stops and all that, it's like medicine. You take some medicine, it'll be all right. We can't be all right with just no medicine, and then you're trying to tell young folks to come to a place that they can get them some training, and yet still, they're firing instructors. It's going to trickle down to when they start hitting our community. We have places like in DC and in Buffalo closing down. They're trying to shut down not just the Black folks' monuments, but all monuments, Irish, whatever. This change is happening, and we're not paying attention. With Homecoming in here right now, and what she said, man, you like, for real? For real? So how do I keep my youth getting checks every week, and all of a sudden, boom, it stops? They ain't gonna be able to handle it because they haven't saved. That goes to Mr. Jim Anderson show when you talk about young folks don't save money when they just spend it. The Uber stop, the Cash App stop, all that stops. How are we gonna be affected by it? Do we go through a depression? or recession or whatever we want to call this new phase. I don't even know the name for it right now. Do you know the name for it?
I think it is. I think it's a recessionary.
He was sitting back, laid back, talking. He said, "So what is wrong with y'all, America? Why is y'all allowing this to happen?" Well, when it started affecting their pockets right now, like with Tesla and all them other places, now they trying to protest. We ain't buying those cars, okay? We ain't buying those cars. It's them folks that's been buying them cars that been sitting at home living rich off the hog. And now here it is, like you said, 4 years, 3 years. But they have a vice president that's young. Now he can get an opportunity to run again. Now we get 8 more years of this going on. You see what I'm saying? So if we're not careful, they'll get another run at it. Whether it's Republican or not, they might get another run at it because that's how America is going right now. Make America great for what? I don't get it because guess what? I don't see no factories opening up tomorrow talking about we won't be moving like that direction right now. You know what I'm saying? All our money has been pushed out to China and other places right now. So where do we gonna make America great at? Make America great. What? Put new houses up on the block and then we give them to other folks. And now we sitting back talking about I should be living on this block. When I'm taking my youth down the street and I'm saying, used to be a house here, used to be a house there. That's crazy. No houses, just empty lots. And then guess what happens? The people buy them and they put up these stockade fences on them and they own it and they don't even really own it, but then they just seclude themselves. America is becoming a place that you don't want to see. Eventually things are going to happen here and people are going to start really getting hurt.
Yeah, it takes a while for what happens at the national level to hit down locally. But people need to really understand everything that we're concerned about is connected to the political process in some way or another. You got people right now who didn't think that any of these changes would affect them, and now they're looking at that as you cut service. If you cut the people, then that means the quality of the service is going to be lowered down, take longer, and not going to get done that quickly. And so people, we got to learn to curb our appetite in a lot of ways. For instance, whole lot of partying? No, no, no. Or if you're going to party, save the money and be happy. The other thing we got to learn is how to cook with bare essentials. You know, if grandma and grandpa was alive, grandma grab some dry beans, hook them suckers up in so many different ways. You would think the dry beans was the same dry beans that she cooked the other day because they season them up. In other words, we got to learn the skill that carried us through some other rough time that we as people of color have gone through. And see, this is where history matters. You can't just say, oh, once upon a time. No, once upon a time taught us how to deal in moments like this. And if you God-fearing, now this ain't no religiosity, but if you God-fearing, the one who said they got you covered even unto death, that should be part of your strength anyway. But I know a lot of people don't know that because they're not really paying attention to what it means to be spirited up and anchored in that kind of way. But the simple things that grandma used to do to bring a family through when nobody worked, when they were in slave days and all times like that, hard time, how to sew, how to fix things. We got to go back to that till we get around this curve.
But I do think you're making a good point of let's not get distracted.
Right.
So while we can look at what the symptoms are, I think there's some fundamental things that gives us an advantage from before, which is we're talking about making our own food, but are we even educating on entrepreneur opportunities on raised gardens? And we're starting to grow the crops now. Because when the cutoff comes, the cutoff comes.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so even when we think about structuring businesses, we are in the beauty industry, which we think won't, but people will start coloring their own hair when they don't have it. I think there's a caller on the line. So those are just things you want to consider. Is just being prepared on the things that matter.
Caller, you're on the air. Welcome.
Yes.
Hey, Dr. Dawn. Yes.
Yes. I just want to share a couple. I know you don't have much time. You know, when I was growing up, I helped my mother can. And she would can vegetables and everything all summer. But one of the things, I do workshops on how to survive. I've been doing them for a long time. One of the things I do, I grow vegetables on my front porch. I grow tomatoes, peppers, and I also had a lemon tree. I had a lemon tree in my front. When you came into my front hallway, it wasn't a big lemon tree, but I grew lemons. So we can grow food in our homes, on our porches, on our deck. I just wanted to share that.
Well, I think it's important, and I think that's a key what you just shared, because if we learn to do that preserving and canning stuff, I mean,
Yes.
from fruits to vegetables, you got food that'll last you longer than if you went and bought some of these canned goods that you know ain't that don't give you that much. But
It's more healthy and it will save a lot of money. So anyway, I'm going to be doing another workshop sometime later, and I hope that people will come out and I will share some tips with people on how to grow vegetables at your home. Thank you very much and have a good day.
thank you for sharing that and reminding us how to get over in times like this.
I think too, like what I'm hearing is this is what we were talking about even when it came to when we were talking about even before the election, like this idea of us versus them, right? And I've been saying that we can look at people that look like us, say this is us, but there are plenty of people who look like us who are doing great, who are maybe willing to say things and be in rooms that we weren't willing to be in, who are willing to almost sell out their own people to be like, hey, I'm gonna eat. Good luck to the rest of y'all. There are people like us who are very successful right now, who are doing great under this administration. I think what we need to look at are, when we say us versus them, us are the people who don't have. Those are people who are quote unquote, like not saying everybody's poor. I don't like the word poor, but people who are without money. That is us. Like that is us, that has been us. And then it's funny because you look at this national level and you see what's happening, but this is no different to me from what's happening on a local level. When we had some of the mayoral candidates in here and they were talking about helping the east side, what was everybody saying? Well, Buffalo's bigger than the east side, man. But that's us now. Like if you don't understand who is us, if you don't take care of those who need, then when you become in need and you don't create those systems, you have no ways to get out of that need. And so I think because we were all approaching this from the mindset of, well, this isn't going to affect me, so I'm not worried about it. Well, now you see what happens. Yes. When you don't help the people who are lagging behind, a raising tide raises all ships, right? And so when you're not helping the ships that are stranded, and then you become a stranded ship, well, now we're all looking like we're in trouble. And so I think I look at this reflected even on the local level, making sure that everybody has access to resources so that you don't have to be in a situation now where we're scrambling, where people are worried about survival. When we were just a couple months ago,
living it up.
We were just 2 years ago, everybody got a stimulus check, balling. You ain't even worried. You paying rent months and you don't even know what's going on. And now we're struggling. And we weren't worried about it when it wasn't us. And so I think we need to be very clear on, there are a group of people in this country who regardless of administration, are profiting. And it's those who have. And then there's people who aren't, and there's those who don't. And I say it like I'll say, I continue to say it. If you don't know what side you're on the side who doesn't have it. Because we talk about having it. Man, I look at some of the things that are going on, it just makes me worry because the separation between the successful and the unsuccessful is getting wider and wider. Yes, there are some young people who can afford to move out at 18, but it's growing an increasing population like myself who did everything y'all said I was supposed to do. I did good in high school. I had a job in high school. I didn't even go to college to save money. And I couldn't even imagine moving out right now. Like that's what we're looking at. And we're so quick again to point and say, oh, it's not us until it becomes us. Right. And now we're all in a situation looking around shoulder to shoulder saying, how did we get here? We got here acting like it wasn't going to affect us. Right. And so when I look at the local level and I look at some of the platforms people are running on, I think this gives even more support, not to endorse anybody, but to say that you have someone in here saying, oh, we need to bring up the east side. And people are so quick to get defensive. Even people get defensive and say, no, it's bigger than the east side. Understand that when it struggles, when you struggle, when a group struggles, there is nothing separating you from being in that struggling group. And when you are, and don't create those systems. Hold on 1 second. When you don't create those systems to be successful, and then you are becoming the struggling one, you have no way to get out of that struggle.
So I hear what you're saying, but I have no territory on how we struggle in this community. I believe that it's not just the east side thing because I don't have boundaries like that. And when you want to put boundaries on something like that, then you stuck in the silo. I'm not in the silo with stuff. Now I just came back from visiting Harriet Tubman in downstate, And I took 25 youth there, right? And when they walked into her house and they seen a refrigerator that you had to grab the ice and put it in the refrigerator and all that there, this is where I'm going with this, see what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden the kids don't know what that is. It can come back to those times. But you know what? She bought the land and she did what she had to do and she made it work. And then we're going back to gardens. Right now on the St. John's has a garden, right? My youth went over there to learn how to plant and use things like that there. So I'm giving them the tools that they need to survive right now, whether it be, financial, but mentally and stable in them so they can grow their own stuff there. So they working on this plan here. But I'm telling you right now, if Harriet Tubman had a plan back then to get it passed through, I believe that Black folks in this community is going to get through this thing. We have weathered the storms and many storms in the city of Buffalo. And what Mother Doyle's talking about right now, it's important to learn how to garden for yourself. But you know what? Some things are like this. It's by design that we're not taking advantage of what we have to take up. So I don't look at it as just the east side of Buffalo, because I don't claim the east side of Buffalo, first of all. I don't claim it, because when I came from Florida and came back here and got off that plane and rolled through, and I went from a positive to a negative, I don't want to be claiming poverty and all this here. I want to do great. I want to move somewhere that I can look out the window and say, look, I know we made it. I know I can bring my other family. We're not bound to the east side of Buffalo. Let's be clear that, because we didn't start off on the east side of Buffalo. We started off coming down on the west side and moving down here. And I'm going to give you some history about all this stuff to here. The area we in the Michigan corridor was not that. They zoned it the east side of Buffalo because guess what? They wanted to make it there. But the east side of Buffalo was white folks that lived on the east side of Buffalo first. See, the Germans and all them, then the Polish people came, and then the blacks came. So I'm just giving you some history about how they make it. The word ghetto don't come from the black people. It comes from when we was over there. I believe the Polish people had the ghetto. See, now words are changing now, and people are changing. But I'm just saying to you, brother, the struggle is yours right now. It's in your bark, and I like your energy. You know what I'm saying here? So I don't claim certain sides of Buffalo. Just like the 33 project that ripped our city all apart. That was ripped way before we got here, and they want to claim it back as the east side of Buffalo. We got to think this thing through with the money that's left, because she right now saying, look, she has the power. The governor has the power right now to make the decision if we're going to get this money or not. It's all in her hands. It ain't even in Rock. It ain't even in the east side quarter. It's in the governor's hand to make a decision on where that money is going to go. Do we need it for it to close it off? Do we need to do this or whatever? Use it for our community to make it grow.
Well, as you can see, we got a lot to deal with, and there's some basics that need to be going on. I'd like to put a challenge out there to block clubs to step up. I don't want to see your thumb in your lapel and your chest poking out, talking about you got a block club. Your block club needs to be doing some simple things, some good old grandma things. You know, grandma used to help the kids learn how to read, and she couldn't read that well herself. Mm-hmm. But she would encourage young people how to read. Oh, yeah, what's that word, honey? And all that. Grandma she could not give up. The reason I keep bringing up grandma has a legacy in everybody's life as being like the anchor. And they're the anchor because they always were doing something to keep the family alive. Little things, from what I said, how they cook, how they can, how they grow, how they even sew things. And we need to learn that in block clubs. You need to be doing that on your block right now. You need to be taking a census of how many yards have gardens on your block, and learn how to share with one another, how to make your block healthy and strong as we go through this tough moment. You need to look on your block again. Somebody could teach somebody how to can, how to preserve things. That's a skill. That's a talent. But it's something we need to do now because the prices going up. Just because you ain't seen them yet, listen, prices are going up. Food is going to be at a shortage because there'll be things you can't get. And with the tariffs that are really impeding what's going to happen with trade and
we ain't even buying them cars.
We're in the buying, but again, let's not forget.
Right.
we've been in dark moments. Think about, look, how did we get to where we are now? We came through dark moments into more dark moments, and now we're into another dark moment. And the question is, what are we prepared to do? Can we do like grandma? How many people can? Raise your hand. No, I know you ain't gonna raise your hand. And I'm not beating you up. I'm just saying, let's wake up and let's get serious about the moment. Look, some people are gonna lose their life. We hope it nobody within our families. We hope as little as possible. But we're in a very bad time. Care, as one was hoping for, is not going to be available as they cut all kind of staff. Again, it's going to take longer to get the services you need. And we need to be training up some of our folks to become those replacements in healthcare. And so,
Closing off.
Yeah. Wrap it
The
up.
last thing I'm gonna say this real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'm gonna say this. I think you're right. When we say that we've been in a dark time before, I think that's true. When I say that you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that's true. But I think we need to make sure that we're defining who we and you is. And if we don't, we're gonna have a hard future coming up. So just look at really who we and you is. And if, like I said, I think I have an answer. Those who have and those who don't. And if you don't know what side you're on, I'm sorry I got your answer. But if you want to join the conversation next week, you can call in at 716-837-1120.